What's going on, New Fighting Order? This is your host, Alexlexus of Lunchtime TV under the New Fighting Order, TSG, and Salty Gamers Productions. Coming at you with our episode for May 29th, 2013. And shout out to a YouTube user by the name of Al Bambi. Shout out to this man. He knows his stuff. I like his show. I want to extend an invitation out to you to be a guest on one of our podcasts because, I would love to get your perspective in one of our podcast settings where, you, me, Nelson, and the rest of my staff can, discuss a lot of key points from your perspective that people just don't see. I would like also El Bambi to get more YouTube views because his information. I mean, I learned a lot from two specific videos in reference to the possible decline with the video game industry, and it happened once before. I mean, he had some really good information. We're kind of in the same peer group. He's a little older than me, but I mean, I always respect my elders to that degree. But shout out to you, El Bambi. I'm gonna subscribe to your channel and try to get some of our viewers to see some of your information as well. So, good job. Keep up the good work. Getting on task, and sorry for the shaky table. I'm in the lunchroom trying to knock this out before I get back to work. But today, the topic at hand is, you know, not focusing directly on the Xbox One, but more so the battle between publishers, developers, and local retailers, mainly GameStop. Okay, so I went around on Google and found this little picture here, so you can enjoy that. But where do you guys lie on the issue? You know, Al Bambi and I have made specific points on on one of my videos and two of his, where they're talking about how GameStop and certain retailers really seize and exploit in the design or the system that is selling games. Now, the now I find myself kind of not completely sympathizing with the developers, but it's just something. Okay, we already know you should have the option to buy used games. Fine. Microsoft, I think, went a little too far as a response to how much revenue GameStop gets off of used games. Now, I'm actually gonna start pointing the finger at GameStop. I think that there was some greed involved with this, and if anything, if a lot of you will not agree with this, but on the corporate level, if these retailers are at least giving a little something to the developers for used games, that would have probably been okay, provided that we didn't know about it. What I mean by this is, let's say the same system still worked in terms of getting used games, buying, selling, trading, and all that, but the company, the corporate entity that is GameStop was giving, okay, look, we made 100% profit on a used game, but we'll give you 10% or 20% or something. They were riding with this format for so long that they're just like, you know what? Yeah, we got a good thing going. But for our fighting game guys, what happens to an exploit? It gets patched out. And that's what's happening right now. And the consumers are caught in the middle of this. So for GameStop to say, hey, and Demizo was telling me that they're doing a survey to see should we even carry the Xbox One in GameStop stores. It's kind of messed up that you're trying to strong arm the customers like that so that maybe Sony can get the edge, and hey, you know what, we're gonna be more pro Sony because you guys can continue to get the profits. I don't mind getting in where you're fitting in. Everybody has to eat, but when is too much, too much. You know what I mean? I think that even, I guess my philosophy is, for instance, let's say Nelson and I make a deal or whatnot, and money comes in or whatever. If he helped me do something and I just take 100%, I'm kind of wrong. No, actually, I'm dead wrong. I should compensate the person that helped me get to where I'm at. And hey, you know what? If it weren't for you, I wouldn't be able to have this business. Maybe GameStop, Stop, Best Buy, or whomever are doing trade games and used game sales could have worked with something, made a little compromise, but the greed and like, hey, you know what? The initial game sells for $60. Then that game comes back in. You give them $35 max. Then you turn around and sell it for almost full price, and you, the retailer, keep it. Now, instead of doing it this way, and Microsoft, fuck you guys for this because you are wrong for going in this drastic manner where the consumers are affected. It should have been a deal made at the corporate level, like, hey, you know what? You're selling our used games. This is what. Let's work something out. But to create a system which is going to completely police itself like that, enforcing online on people, that's wrong. But again, these two companies are fighting each other, and it's not just Microsoft. Microsoft is the figurehead, but it's all the other developers who are pissed off by this. We should still have the right to buy, sell, and trade used games at our leisure going through GameStop. But GameStop did it the wrong way in terms of I'm going to hog and hoard this exploit and not think that someone's going to put a band aid over it and say, hey, bam. You know, it's a different thing. Like, I understand with the analogies with used cars and all this other stuff, but vehicles, when people get them, they usually hold on to them. Games is not like that. There's more of a turnaround. There's more profit to be made. And it's almost as if you have a cigarette and you make, for every person that puffs the cigarette, it's 20 bucks. Puff, 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 puff. You know what I mean? But the producers only make it one time, and oh man, we're burning our resources, we can't stay afloat, but these guys are making money off of our stuff. Wait a minute, what's going on here? We gotta police it. I'm not justifying it, I'm just giving you guys the facts. If you were in the developer's place, Microsoft's place, how would you respond to that? Put yourself on the other side of the fence, and maybe, and that's why I'm creating this video, because I kind of understand where they're coming from, but they should not have created a system which is going to be self-policing in that respect. So I'm not saying maybe maybe I am blaming GameStop to a degree, being too greedy, and not only that, the GameStops, okay, there used to be an abundance of GameStop stores in the Union, New Jersey area off of Route 22. Those of you who live in Jersey know. Those are the GameStops I frequent. There's the one in Hillside, there's the one on Route 22 Center Aisle. There used to be one over by the PC Warehouse, but they closed that one down. Then you had the other one by the Barnes and Noble. They closed that one down. So if GameStop is making all this profit, why are you closing your stores down? It's not, again, please, GameStop corporate out of Texas, I'm not stabbing at you guys. I am just letting you know the companies aren't happy. They are not happy. So, what do you guys think? Shout out to El Bambi. I want you, El Bambi, to leave a video response for that, because I kind of understand where Microsoft is coming from and the developers. Remember, you Sony fanboys, don't just blame Microsoft. Blame EA, blame all the developers who were just like, man, we make the game and our R&D guys, and we have to lay people off and all that. Yet, for what was produced, somebody's making 10 times what the original creator would have made. It's a really gray area, because on some degree it's just like, hey, once you sell it, that's it. That's the risk you take. But then, what about when these guys are just thriving off of this? I mean, they've really made a huge business. And Funcoland, I miss Funcoland. I was there at the opening of the Funcoland when it used to be on Route 22. they introduced that wonderful idea of trading in your old games, but just like the DLC controversy, they took it. Well, when EB GameStop merged and they bought out Funkoland earlier before the merger, it's like, man, they took it and went too far. With DLC, same thing. DLC is the best and the worst thing that happened with the console generation because they started getting crazy with it and breaking off pieces of games and stuff. The companies are freaking greedy, and this is the end result. I have to cool down because I am in a workplace in a corporate building. So, new Fighting Order fans, Nelson, Bambi, Mike, Shinwash, Noop, rest of the staff, leave your comments below because now it just got real. GameStop versus the developers, and GameStop really ruined a good thing. I think that they took too much of the profit off of the used game sales. They should have at least contributed something to keep them off of the consumers' back, but it was all about this. And now they took drastic measures. And now GameStop, from what I heard, I think I saw it on the Magic Box, they would get only 5% of the used game sales if they, since everything is now going into play under the new format of how used game sales are going to be handled. Instead of making a deal, now you're only going to get chump change and crumbs from the companies. Greed does not help. All greed does is put you in a shitty situation. But this has been Alexlexus coming at you with our another episode of Lunchtime TV, New Fighting Order, NMO, TSG, and Salty Gamers. Shout out to Tough Nerd Toys LLC, and I will see you next time on the New Fighting Order TV show.